and we are discussing referrals, how to give more referrals, how to receive more referrals, and just make them more our advanced trainings that we do. We talk about one-to-ones, the weekly presentations, feature presentations, and referrals. So this month it's all around referrals. So, so we want you to think about where are you in terms of 3 types of referrals given. Where do you want your member? What do you want? Where do you want your members to be? And then what do you need to do to move them up the referral confidence curve? So let's go over to what we were talking about. So the advocator, let's review. Those are people that just wait for stuff to happen. They may be in your group, they may be a referral partner, but they really, you're just in visibility with them. Not much is happening. They're really reactive. They're like, hey, this came across, right? And then the promoter is ready and able to listen to triggers. They're comfortable explaining your products and services and qualifying a referral without kind of botching it up. And so if they hear a complaint, they go, oh, I know someone, let me put you in touch with them, right? So they're ready to catch those referrals. And then the creator is someone that's out there shaking the trees, someone that says, you know, hey, I've got these referral partners. I think they might be of value to you in your business or in your personal life. Let me make an introduction. I think it would be helpful for you. Or you might do collaborative marketing. So we were saying, come up with the sheet. So if you'll list 3 members, and so last week, that's what we talked about, identify 3 people and where are they? So for today's webinar, I want to talk about, and without saying who they are, because we don't want to throw anyone under the bus, your chapters, but just think about where they are and where are you for them. And a lot of times, if they're in a creator type of category, then generally you are too. In the advocator and the promoter areas, you're going to have a lopsided comparison sometimes. And so when they're lopsided, so let's say you have an advocator that Bob is there for you. Well, I'll just use my examples of some industries that aren't on this webinar as referral partners. So an advocator, I have one of my dog rooms midway. So I send them business. I'm trying to come up with some things to send more there, but I need to work on a way. And basically the best way to do it is just have a candid conversation with your referral partner to say, hey, we want to send more business to you, but we also would like to chat about ideas on how you might be able to pitch some other referrals our way as well. So that's one. And then the promoter, I'm trying to think of an industry for me that is in the promoter where they are for me. I would say a flooring company, that they are sending some business our way, and we're there for them as well. We're about equal right there, which is nice. So that's what we call a great referral partner, isn't it? Ooh, Wendy, I liked your mug. That's cool. I just saw it come through on Facebook. And then the creator, we've got a cleaning company that we're partnering with. They do house and commercial cleaning that we are coming up with some collaborative marketing ideas, and they are for us as well. So it's reciprocal. And so, but maybe you're not in those areas. So let's talk today about, and that's why I want to open it up, to say, how can we move these? So how can you move an advocator? Remember, and let's look at where they are: advocator, promoter, and let's see. Shelly, you can call in, and I can unmute you if you're. Let me see what you said. That's a full message. If someone that says they can't, you can type it in if you want. Just type in your responses, and I'll share that with everyone. Let's see. Okay. Yay, welcome. So 20%, Quentin says about 20% of his folks you're satisfied with where they are, right? And then I figured out a workaround. Okay. Okay, so Shelly, I'm not sure. We'll have to figure out the technology on that end. But so So I want to talk about ways that we can motivate this. So just remember APC. That's the flow of that. If you're like, what's the advocator again? So APC. All right, that's our acronym for today. So APC. So the advocator. So if you've got someone that's an advocator and you want to make them into a promoter, and then eventually we're going to take the promoters and move them into the creators, right? So take a second.
Kathy, did we lose you?
No, I'm here. I'm just waiting for folks to get their head together. So who do you have as an advocator, or for anyone? This is where I want to I want you guys to share ideas. So I know what I would do, but I want to hear what you guys do. So as an advocator, someone that's just sitting there waiting, what's one thing that you all can do to help move them into promoter? And one is education, I would think. So I'm going to unmute Quentin. You're driving. So I'm going to, I don't know if you can. A one-to-one says Wendy Stanley, and not just the typical one-to-one, right? Sometimes we get, let's say lethargic, but sometimes we don't follow the very true standard one-to-one practice of do the gains exchange beforehand. Really set that one-to-one up like by the book, right? And we know sometimes we don't do them all by the book, but especially for an advocator, they're like an infant referral partner. You've got to really train and educate them. And so having a very structured one-to-one, I think would be very helpful. So yes, one-to-one is great. Let's see who else might be ready to share. Oh, and so Wendy Stanley says on her text, I often find that when I refer more than one person in a quick time frame, they're so wowed that they want to find how they can refer to me. That is totally true. And so I think one of the biggest things you can say to an advocator, someone that you really do want to have a better relationship with, to go to them, even if it's not in a one-to-one setting, pick up the phone. I mean, I think sometimes when we go, hey, I've been meaning to talk to you. Well, that's nice, but if you just pick up the phone out of the blue, or send them an email out of the blue and say, hey, I want to take a minute and specifically call you, Wendy, because I really want to focus on getting a referral for you. Can we chat just a few minutes on what you're looking for and how I can help find that? And even if there's not a referral in hand, I think sometimes just if they know that you care and are trying, and it's a valid try, that they actually will be wowed, like you said, and want to try and help you back. So what are some other ways that you all think, obviously one-to-ones it's about relationships, isn't it? Right there. When we're having one-to-ones and letting them know you care, that's all about relationship development for sure, and building that credibility. Anyone else text in? I might be able to unmute some of you. I think you're all muted. Let's see, who else do we have? You can go give them a testimonial, all these things that can build visibility and credibility. That's what it comes down to, isn't it? But I think education is huge, and you've got to make sure your message is also very strong and very specific, because sometimes we can spew off whatever we want, but if they don't get it and we don't grab their attention and they don't understand, collaborate on an event together. Thank you, Boo Arnado. Like what, might you ask? And I bet you have an example. Shall I unmute you? Or can you unmute yourself? Let me see. Bo. Where are you on the list? There you are. I'm gonna. Oh, you could call in, I guess. But okay, don't worry. I'll relay your message. But collaborate on an event together, and that might be an open house. Like we do wine tastings as a way to co-market with folks for our carpet cleaning business. So we will actually partner with, like for instance, the cleaner. We're talking about having home buying seminar. Yep. With an insurance agent, an inspector, or lender, says Wendy, who is a realtor. And then, let me see, who else? You said we. Who else? Teach them what triggers. Let's see. So she's saying teach them what triggers in a conversation to listen for and help transition them into promoting your services. Definitely. And I think about this too. Remember when I said if you make a list of who is an advocator and then write out what are 3 things that you're going to do this week to help educate them, build a relationship, and move them closer to promoter. And I think that's the missing link is sometimes we're reactionary, not purposeful in our plans. So what if you were to take 3 people this month, like our thing says right here, take 3 that are in each category. Maybe you have a bunch of advocators. At least they're there, at least they're on the chart, So don't be bummed if you're like looking at your roster and going, well, 75% are in the advocator position. And you're like, dang, how do I move them? Well, it means you got a little bit of work to do. So what if you actually make a list of 1 a month, 3 a month, however it is, whatever you don't feel overwhelmed with doing. And it all goes back to the power of 1 or the impact of 1, doesn't it? If you were to strategically just pick 1 a week to focus on or 1 a month to focus on and write out what are some things you're going to do. What about reaching out to them? I know our David with our carpet dry clean reached out. He's attending a networking event next Monday and reached out to some referral partners and people that are in this advocator stage and said, hey, I'm going to be going to this. I'd love to introduce you to some people that are at the event as well. I thought it would give us an opportunity to find out more about each other. I hope you can make it. And so it's not just a BNI meeting, but he met them at the BNI meeting. They were visitors, and he reached out to invite them to go network with him. That's what's called network, not net sit and wait for them to come back to the meeting as a visitor, but actually reach out to them and open that dialogue. And they didn't join the group, so that's okay. So those are people, just that's an idea. Not just collaborate on a big event, because if you don't have a lot of trust, they may not know exactly what you're wanting to do. But if you know them a little bit better, you can certainly say, hey, I'd like to put together an event with you. You could also promote them in an email or on Facebook or LinkedIn to your clients. So there is, let me stop sharing for just a second. I'm going to pull up a list for you. Let me find. Let me find it. Okay. Now there's a list that I had referenced before we were, I'll have to find it later. I don't want dead air is terrible. I was trying to find it, but I couldn't get my hands back on it. But there's a list of motivating your referral sources, so I'll send it to you. It's stuff that we're talking about, but there's some other little things in there. Sending them a note, connecting with them on social medias, that kind of thing. That certainly helps keep you visible. But I think it goes back to education as well. And then a promoter to a creator. So what about a promoter that, remember, they're already sending some, they're pretty good about referring, but they may not be to this creator part, right? We want them out there shaking the trees, right? And so the promoters, if you remember, are folks that are pretty good at what they do. They hear a complaint and they're offering up, they know what to say. Andrea, like you were suggesting, what are some triggers to listen for? And maybe you all come up with a list of those, these are phrases to listen for, and this is what I'd like you to say when you hear it or see it. And so I think that's really huge, but where are their trees? Find out. I think the biggest thing to move a promoter, they're already in the habit of looking for you. You just need to know what they're looking at. So what does their tree look like? Meaning, what does their network look like? I would find out where are they networking in the gains profile. It talks about goals, interests, networks, and skills, doesn't it? And so we want to know, where do they network? So finding out from them, where are some other people, or where are some other networks that maybe you haven't tapped into, or what are they in philanthropic groups? Are they in sports groups? Find out very specifically, hey, I think that we're able to send each other some good business, but I think we need to reach outside. What are the demographics of their types of clients, and where do their clients that could be good clients for you, where do they network? So you all might want to collaborate on those kind of things. What other ideas do you guys have for the promoter? Teach contributors. I think that's our last one. Any others? Is everyone muted? I don't think I'm muted, folks, but we have most folks, I guess, that didn't call in today, that they're on the web. So. Okay, so then we are going to, go ahead.
It's Vicki Severcool. I just tried to unmute myself. Can you hear me?
I can. Yay, success.
Okay.
It's so quiet.
So
did you have something to comment, I hope?
Well, I feel like I am comfortable in starting a conversation in order to get referrals for other people. Is that what this is talking about?
Yes.
As far as a promoter?
Yep. Yes. I mean, that would be you being a promoter. So yeah, let's share some of those ways that you all try and find referrals, as well as motivate your referral sources.
Motivate your referral sources. Okay.
This is about giving and getting, right?
Right. So. I think the giving part, I feel like I have that down. It's the getting part. It's the making sure there's a reciprocal relationship. Yeah. And I think I could use some training, more education on.
Yeah. And were you on here last week, Vicki?
I wasn't.
No. Okay. So we suggested, hey, take the list from your chapter specifically, since this is a B&I related call. But you can also do it for other partners that may or may not, be in your chapter, but making a list of who are people that are advocators, meaning the people that just kind of sit and wait for stuff to fall in their lap. They may toss you a bone, but only if one is handed to them. And then the promoters are the ones that are actively looking, and they're kind of waiting for something to fall. It's not that they're out there shaking the trees like the creator. So I would write down some people that you want, or that you recognize, that are sitting and waiting, that are, in the promoter, and then some that are in the creator. And I would work to do more with the creator, more with the promoter, but certainly work on ways to bring the advocator along. And then put yourself, like, where are you with a few folks? And generally, if you're going to question the advocator, to say, Bob is an advocator. I haven't really given much. I haven't gotten much. Or maybe you've given and you're a promoter to Bob, but he's an advocator. So how do we make him a promoter, right? And so I think the best thing to do is just without even looking, you all can probably come up with a couple of folks like, what's Sue doing over there? What's she up to? I haven't seen or heard much from her lately. Most of these folks, there are some people in advocator status for you that are in a totally unrelated field. Totally, right? But that doesn't mean that they can't be a better referral partner. So I think just sitting down and saying to folks, hey, I was evaluating my referral team, and I feel like I'm here, and just explain, there's this kind, and this kind. And this is where I feel like I am. And where do you think you might be? I know where I think you are, but ask them where they think they are, and say, hey, I think we could be creators for each other, really shaking the trees out there. Do you want to invest a little time and energy in talking about it? Because I think we, we're likable people. We have good rapport, whatever those things are. I think we need to make time for it and educate each other on it. And I think if you have a very purposeful structure of your one-to-ones, to say, I think sometimes we have one-to-one, a purposeful way of approaching it. I know I am, and this is what I do. This is what I train on, but we all get sucked into, the distractions of life, and those kind of things. So I think, having a purposeful list, and that's why these, let's see. So someone said, those types of realizations create problems if they take what you are saying the wrong way? I would say yes, if you're not tactful about it. If you feel like you have a pretty strong relationship, I think it's okay to say that. Or you go with the thought of giving, to say, hey, Wendy, I think I could send more business to you, and I really want to focus on it. Can we sit down and talk about what that would look like and how I can help you more? And true to point is when people know that you're enough. Sometimes some people don't get it. I had one lady that said, I went with that approach and they just didn't get it. And I'm like, you know what? Then you're going to have to call a spade and say, hey, I'm going to start tracking what I do. And BNI, we can track that. It's pretty easy. So I'm going to pull the reports and just kind of see, I've given this and you've given that. And I think you probably have tried to give more, but maybe it's just not been documented. So yeah, if they might feel attacked. Wendy, is that what you were getting at? That it might come over wrong. But you know what? In reality, if I'm coming to you saying, hey, I really want to focus on doing some more stuff together, and you get all miffed about it, I don't want you on my team anyway. I'm not going to focus on you're out of the picture. But I do think that's a valid point. So I'm glad you pointed that out. But you just push them against the wall and hold them by the throat and say, you will send more referrals. No, I'm just kidding. Wouldn't that be nice just to go, look in the mirror, it's you, it's not me. But sometimes, honestly, that is the case, and it's unfortunate. I would say it's more rare than common, but some people just won't get it, and they're not of the giving mindset. Most of our members, I would say, are, but some people, they just get busy, and they're so trained to be, seeking and for their own needs. So I think just having a very sincere conversation, or if you're not to that point, then develop the relationship further. Have a couple one-to-ones, go network a little bit, feel more comfortable before you approach them. Because you're right, I think the timing has to be right for that. So does anyone else have any ideas? So when you're in the promoter to creator, do you guys have some folks identified in that regard that you're like, wow, this is working pretty well? How can we? I always think, how can we always improve on what we have? Sometimes starting way back with an advocator can be more work, but if they get to promoter stage and creator stage, it's so much easier. It's almost like a well-oiled machine, especially if you set up, and this is one thing I think that some of us, when we have one-to-ones with our close referral partners, that it's already working pretty well. It could always be better, but what if you set a regular standing one-to-one to touch base, whether it's in person or on the phone? Just set up a regular, because that's what I'm doing with someone, is I'm setting up a regular call every other week, just for about 30 minutes to say, hey, who have you been working with and how can I help? Because I'm not interfacing with them regularly, but it's a great referral partner. So maybe you even set up something like that, so it's not, okay, where are we going to meet? But so you're in touch, and it's just a quick, hey, who are we working on? So it really started as a follow-up to our one-to-one, our initial one-to-one, so that we stayed very purposeful and goal-oriented or results-oriented to hit what our goals were. So there's some other ways. Let's see. So going on to their social media sites is another way. Check and see who they're connected with, and if those are good introductions for you. If you're in the promoter and creator stage with them, you could probably reach out and say, and I had someone do this recently, to say, hey, I noticed one of our mutual friends on Facebook is a friend with a prospect that I've been trying to meet. Ed, actually, in our one of our East Cup chapters, didn't know this other person, and the person that I knew very well reached out and said, hey, she has this connection. Could you ask her for the introduction? And I'm like, whoa, tell me all the deets on why do you want this introduction? What value are you going to bring to the table for this introduction, so I can prep it to her, because she doesn't know you. And she was very accommodating, so I appreciate that. But that's another way to kind of have a promoter move from promoter to creator, you know, and just increase that, and ask other people, hey, here's some people that I work with. Is there an industry that I can help make an introduction for you? So now let's move on to the types of referrals, right? So there's the effectiveness worksheet. If you guys, I would say I can send it, but it's pretty much just, you know, write 3 names and 2 columns. So we talked about moving those, and I think the biggest thing, homework, it's always great, isn't it? But you know, pull up your sheets from Connect, and what I would challenge you to do is pull up the reports that show the giving and receiving, and then cover up the names before you even look at it. Just put a piece of paper over it and cover up the names, and you'll be surprised, I think, as to where you think you might be and where you think others are. That's always a really interesting thing. And way before BNI Connect, and we collected data manually, we used to cover up the names on the Palms report. It was handwritten. And it was always kind of an eye-opener to go, okay, put your name where you think you are, and put your name where you see others. And the numbers were not usually in the right place. So, so that leads us to 9 o'clock. I have another call, and I'm going to hop on. And Miss Tanya, she's our in charge of referral development for our team. And she is working to work on referral development for your chapters. So Tanya, I'll hop off and talk to you in a few minutes. Thanks you guys for participating. And I would highly recommend invite someone that is in an advocator or promoter and they're stuck. Invite them for next week. I think that'd be great. And go post something that you enjoyed about from today. All right. Thanks. Have a great rest of the week. We'll talk to you soon.